What is up, all of you Avatar The Last Airbender fans? Netflix just made a huge announcement regarding Season 2 and Season 3. And it all happened out of nowhere, and it kind of blew my mind. So there's a lot to break down. We're going to be diving into the announcement, as well as there's a clip of when Daniel Dae Kim announced it to the entire cast that I thought it'd be fun if we all watched together. So we're going to get into it all, but before we do, make sure you smash like and subscribe if you're new here. Because if you didn't, that would be really tough. Tough. But like I said, there's a clip courtesy of Netflix on YouTube with the cast all finding out that Season 2 and Season 3 are greenlit, but the way that Daniel Dae Kim went about it was very, very funny, and so that would be fun if we all just watch it really quick. So let's dive in.
I know one of the reasons we're getting together is because I was actually talking to Netflix yesterday, and I was asking the same question you were, Gordon, like, what's happening, with the show? How are we doing? And they did share a bit of news with me that they asked me to share with you, and it's kind of sensitive, so I think that's why they asked me to do it.
It's so messed up,
And
man.
it may not be the news that we are expecting.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was a very special show for me, and I think it was for everyone else. And so, I'm sorry if this is unexpected, but they are not able to announce a Season 2 for our show.
It's so messed up, dude.
But they did say something else to me that I think was really important. They said they're not able to announce a Season 2 because they would like to announce Season 2 and 3.
Let's go! That's crazy the way he went about that, though, man.
In the first half. Daniel, screw you.
Had me in the first half, not gonna lie.
Did I have me sweating? God.
So cruel. That is.
It's crazy how excited all these kids are,
I
though.
checked the numbers this morning. I was
I
like,
know, me too. Dude, you had me so
What are we doing
scared.
this way? We're gonna be seeing more of each other over the next few years.
Avatar Hype House, let's do it, guys. Come on.
God, this is so exciting,
I
dude.
can't help but feel a bit disappointed. Come on. Congratulations, everyone.
Oh my god.
That's awesome. And if you haven't seen that, it's just a funny watch. Daniel Dae Kim is just brutal to these young kids because, look, there is a lot on the line for a young person who is cast in this big show, and now they're just waiting for these numbers to come in, waiting to see if people like it enough for it to get to Season 2 and 3. We're all fans of the original. We know the complete story, and if this first season wouldn't have done well, then we just wouldn't have gotten to complete that story, and maybe 10, 15 years down the road, we would get another live-action adaptation or something like that. But for me, at least, after watching this first season, I was like, dude, they did a pretty dang good job. Like, that would suck if it didn't get a Season 2 and 3. So I've just been kind of biting my nails like, man, is it gonna happen? And then it did. It happened really quickly, and we got the announcement of not just one more season, but 2 more seasons. And now it's not uncommon for a TV show to greenlight 2 seasons at a time, or maybe 1 season and then another season. You'll see it done different ways for each show. I was a little bit confused at first, just because they only announced Season 2 and 3, and in my head I was picturing maybe this series goes a little bit longer. It could go 4 or 5 seasons, but then I read this article from IGN that really made me think about it, so I want to dive into this thing. It has a little bit more on the announcement, a little bit more on the numbers, as well as something that I found very interesting. So they said Netflix has announced the live-action Avatar The Last Airbender show will return for Seasons 2 and 3. Netflix said that it had renewed what it called the global smash hit for another 2 seasons to conclude the story of the 4 nations, water, earth, fire, and air. And right there, I don't know, I haven't been able to find anything. Please let me know down in the comments if you do, just regarding Netflix's announcement and them actually saying that this is going to be the conclusion. This is only going 3 seasons. In my head, with Aang not learning waterbending in this first season, it just kind of felt like, they're doing things a bit differently. Maybe this is going to go for a longer stretch. Maybe they're going to do kind of, Season 1 is air, Aang learned about his past, he worked through a lot of stuff, and then in Season 2 he's gonna do water, and Season 3, you know what I mean? Like, they could really shake things up, but this is definitely alluding to the fact that no, this is Season 1, 2, and 3 and that's going to be it. But moving on, they said season 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender made its Netflix debut on February 22nd, and according to the streamer, was the #1 English TV show with 41.1 million views in just the first 11 days. The series was #1 in 76 countries and in the top 10 in 92. Netflix did not say when season 2 or 3 would come out, announce casting or story information, or release any images save the teaser below. Expect an episode count and other details at a later time. And so yeah, guys, that's really all that we know at this point. This is just a small bit of information. There is a lot to chew on though, like I mentioned, with the conclusion, that word, conclusion, concluding this series, season 3. And you know, in this title poster, it shows season 2 as Earth, it shows season 3 as Fire. And so I'm thinking that they are kind of just following suit and they're going the exact route of the original. They're definitely going to have to shove Aang learning waterbending in there. That could be something that they just sort of leave out and have that take place in the gap between season 1 and 2. I could see people being upset about that personally. I wouldn't care that much. But I talked a lot about this thing possibly going 4 or 5 seasons, and this sort of debunks that. So I'm very curious just to see if anything else comes out regarding that. Like I said, let me know down in the comments if you see anything more to that. But something else I found interesting was just how popular that this show was and that this show is. You know, sometimes when you look at social media a lot or you look at YouTube, a lot of the stuff that you see just trends towards the negative because negative voices speak the loudest. I mean, it's just something that you see all the time. There's been a lot of really solid critical analysis of this show, a lot of these videos, and I found myself watching a lot of these honest reviews from people that I respect, and they've had a lot of great points. Like, I respect where they're coming from, and then the other side of it is just like very much trolls and stuff, but it's very easy to skew that in your head and kind of get this perception like, man, I don't even know if people are liking this. But they clearly are, and it just makes me so happy for this casting crew, because if you've been along on this ride with me, going through the behind-the-scenes videos and breaking down these trailers and talking about the cast, like, we all know how much heart, how much passion, and how much all the creatives and everybody involved in this project care about the original. And so to see this specific group get to carry out this story, it's extremely exciting. I loved just watching the look on these kids' faces as they find out, because there's a lot, man. Season 2 and season 3, that story is a ton. And so you finish season 1, you get all of that under your belt, and then you get the announcement that you get to carry on to 2 and 3. And now I would imagine they all feel very comfortable. It's like, okay, now let's work. Now let's get this done and let's make this as good as possible. The Avatar: The Last Airbender hype lately has been higher than it's ever been, and now this means that's just going to carry on for the next like 5 years. Why they're shooting them 2 and 3, or at least why they announced them so closely together, apparently the word is that they might shoot these back to back. That may or may not be true. I'm not 100% certain on that. If they ended up doing that, I could see the logic behind it just with the kid's age. Stranger Things has definitely taken an interesting direction when it comes to that, and I think that's like a key example that people talk about, and me being a massive fan of that show, it is noticeable. You know, you get into the 4th season, you're like, dude, these kids do not look like freshmen in high school. But look, that's something that has happened for a very long time. My wife and I are going through the OC right now, if you guys have seen that show, and Ryan looks like he's 45 and he's playing a 17-year-old. So like, it's not like this doesn't happen, and that's just the reality of making these types of TV shows with young kids. They get older. But again, I could definitely see the logic in shooting these back to back so that the kids don't age too much in between this adventure. But we'll definitely see. I think the most exciting thing for me, just looking at this poster and seeing the 2 with an Earth sign, is just thinking about Toph. Like, thinking about the fact that we're going to get a live action version of season 2, and that means we're going to get a live action version of The Blind Bandit. We're going to get moments like Zuko Alone. We're going to get moments like Appa's Lost Days, like episodes like that just kill you, and I'm so curious to see how it's all going to play out. And it's going to be such a crazy time finding out the titles to the episodes and combing through and seeing what they're going to be really digging into in this 2nd season. But also, something that I've talked a ton about on this channel is just what I love so much about Avatar: The Last Airbender story arc. It's very similar to Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6. You know, the first chapter, the good guy wins. Second chapter, the bad guy wins and the good guys lose, but they end up learning a lesson through that. And in the final chapter, there's this big culmination event, and they overcome adversity, and the good guys win the day, and it's just a beautiful thing. I love those types of stories. It's a format that works every single time, but heading into the second season, that would mean we're heading into kind of the darker side of this story. Season 2, Earth, is my favorite season of the original series. Now, when I say that, it's like, oh, but look, we all know the Sozin's Comet episodes are the best episodes. Everybody knows that. And so that in your head makes you be like, man, Book 3 is like the best season ever. But when I really look at these seasons, Season 2 just has my favorite moments. It's amazing. And so I couldn't be any more excited. Toph, all of this stuff, introducing new characters, that's going to be fun. But also what it means for characters like Dallas Liu playing Zuko. I'm sure he has the relief of this announcement and being like, okay, let's do this. But then it's like, oh yeah, Zuko's story, that whole journey. Oh yeah, okay, it's time to go to work. There's so much. It's one of the most beautiful story arcs in television history, in my opinion. And there's just a lot to dig into. You have Ozai, and we're going to get to see a little bit more depth there, just like we did in season 1. We have Azula, who's really going to break free in the second season. And then getting into season 3, I mean, this is just going to be a fantastic ride. I'm so happy that they announced 2 and 3 at the same time, so everybody can just breathe a sigh of relief and be like, okay, after the next season, we're not all gonna have to be like, oh man, I hope everybody liked it or else we're not gonna get a season 3. But it's a really exciting time to be an ATLA fan. You know I posted on my community tab with this announcement. Everybody was freaking out. I also love the comments that are like, look, I kind of liked season 1. I thought it had some good elements. I really want a season 2 and 3 though, so that maybe they'll capitalize on those things that I didn't like about it, and those seasons will be better or whatnot. Like, I love that positive mindset, and seeing the people that weren't like over the moon about this first season still be like, man, this is exciting. We're still gonna see season 2 and 3, and maybe this show is just incredible. Like, I think that's fantastic. That's a fantastic point of view, so props to you guys. But like, you know, as for myself, I loved the first season, so this couldn't be better news for me. Like, we're just winning, just non-stop winning. But as always, guys, there's so much to talk about. Please let me know down in the comments all of your thoughts about this announcement. Are you excited for season 2 and 3? What moments are you looking forward to the most? And also, what do you guys think? Do you think this is only gonna be 3 seasons, or do you think they end up pushing this to a 4th season? How are they going to do all this? Please let me know down below. I read all of your comments. Also, if you enjoy this video, make sure you smash like and subscribe if you're new here. You can follow me on X at Jones Vibes Only, and don't forget to keep up the good vibes, guys. But Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2 and Season 3 are coming.